Joe, fantastic to meet you. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Arctic, it's showing here at the London Film Festival. For people who don't know anything about it, how do you summarise what this film's all about?
It's about a man who has to go, who has to decide between staying in the relative safety of his camp after he has crash landed in the Arctic. Let me take that again. So Arctic is about a man who's crash landed in the Arctic and has to decide whether or not he should stay in the relative safety of his camp or to embark on a journey that might save him.
And I understand this is your first feature film.
Yeah, it's my first
taking
feature.
the rather unconventional route into filmmaking from being a YouTube star, one of the first, I suppose. So how's that journey been for you?
It's an odd journey to take, I'll tell you that. You know, going from doing YouTube videos to eventually get into commercials and music videos. But as soon as I started making short films, I knew that I wanted to make a feature. Eventually, I was going to work my way up to that. I was in no rush. I made a couple of shorts to develop my voice and to learn how to work with bigger crews. And then eventually I was able to make this feature.
And in some respects, it's quite a serious topic, in contrast to some of the other things you've done. So why this story?
I wanted to tell a story that was universal. I wanted to tell a story that my grandmother could understand. And she only speaks Portuguese, and yet I wanted to tell a story that someone from China, someone from Germany, someone from Bali, wherever, that you can all understand being hungry, being cold, the fear of not being able to survive any longer. That's such a basic primal instinct that we have as things that are alive. You just want to remain alive. So to me that was so important to be a universal story like that.
And Mads Mikkelsen, don't know if I'm saying that right.
That's right. Better than most.
Bit of a film heavyweight. How did you get him on board for this, debut film, and how was it working with him? I
mean, when my producers came up to me and said, "What do you think of Mads Mikkelsen?" I said, "Why does it matter? What does he think of us? There's no way he's going to make this a tiny little film." But he was such a fan of the story, such a fan of the way that we approached telling the survival film. His first comment to me was, it's such a bold thing to have a survival film begin after the crash, after he's already learned how to fish, after he's already been broken. So we started talking, and for about 2 hours we talked about the themes of what we wanted to create, the character. We started talking about how much preparation he would need, which was zero because this guy was just plopped onto the Arctic. So he said, "I'm ready to go right now. Just let's go." And it was so refreshing to hear that from him. He understood the character quite well from the beginning.
And it must have been a pretty challenging film to create. What were the particularly hard moments, and how did you go about prepping it and then pulling it off?
It was a particularly challenging film, especially for a Brazilian guy who's used to, I'm cold right now, and it's perfectly fine. Thankfully, the entire crew was Icelandic, and I was the weak link in there, being pulled by them. But we ran into insane production issues with wind. Mads opened a car door one time and it broke off and it flew about 100 meters away. And lack of continuity in the weather, it would stop snowing in an instant and then we'd have to switch what we were doing. Thankfully it was the same wardrobe the entire time, so we just, all right, Mads, point this way, let's keep going with the other scene that we were going. We would send out 2 or 3 versions of the call sheet every day. It's like, if it's raining, this is what we're doing. If it's snowing, this is what we're doing. If it's fine, this is what we're doing. And thankfully I had a crew that was willing to be on their toes and willing to have every prop ready and everything being used at a moment's notice. And the crew, we got into this rhythm where we were all so excited about creating this film. It was so special, and the performances that everybody could see from Mads drove everybody to work their hardest and to be so proud to put their name into this film.
I mean, it sounds like you actually really put him through quite a lot of this stuff. So was he kind of a broken man by the end of it, or did he come out stronger?
Everybody was broken by the end of it, I'll tell you that. By the end, our wrap party was so sad, because everyone was bright red in the faces and crinkly and tired. But yeah, Mads was definitely put through the ringer because I had him do every single shot, and he was up for it, which is great. There's some shots where he's about this tall, and it could have been anybody. It could have been you. It could have been me wearing a red parka, and it's just a little figure that's moving, and it's actually Mads. And he had to walk 30 minutes to get to the A position, and through a walkie-talkie is the only way that I can say action. It was so great to have him be willing to do those things. Shots where it's just a glove, where it could have been anybody again. And he just understood the character so well, and he's a dancer, so he had this cadence to his walk, his rhythm. I ended up secretly recording some B-roll footage of just tracking through the Arctic, and I couldn't use the vast majority of it because you can immediately tell that it's not Mads. It's not Mads. It's a stand-in. So I'm glad that he was willing to do everything.
And there's lots of survival movies out there. What do you think is the relevance of this film right now, and what do you think people are going to take away from it?
Yeah. Well, I hope that people can, with this film, I hope that people can create their own stories around it. I don't tell you where he's from. I don't tell you why he cares about this woman. I let you create your own story. So what I love is at the end of the film, looking out and seeing 100 different faces and knowing that there are 100 different ways that film just played out for those people. And that's such a fun thing for me as a filmmaker to have the audience participate in the storytelling. But I hope that what they get is multifactorial, to question, for them to start questioning, why did Mads' character do this? Why did he go through this for someone who he doesn't even know? Someone who's not the same race as he is, the same gender as he is, who doesn't even speak the same language. Why did he do this for her? And to have that simmer in their brains, I think that's a message that it's important to tell nowadays.
And can you tell us where you might go from here?
Yeah, I have a couple irons in the fire. I'm hoping to shoot a film early next year that is all inside of a stage, thankfully. I'm going to have the AC at a cool 25 degrees, and just we'll have 10-hour days, always starting the same hour and always finishing the same hour. It'll be a little bit easier.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks so much again for your time.
Thank you.